I call this meeting executive finance order at 4:08. Mr. Shelley, would you do the introduction?
Guys, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for this registration. Lord, be with us as we go through this meeting today. Thank you, Lord. Amen. Amen.
Jody Fisher
Here.
Chuck Huskin Jr.
Here.
Bill England.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Joe Bird.
I'm here.
Julian Coates. Meredith Fraley. Janelle Fulbright. Don Garvin. Frankie Hargis.
Present.
Tanya Glory Jordan.
Present.
Nick Keener. Nick White.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton.
On me.
David Walkingstick. Kara Cowan Watts. We do have a quorum.
Okay. Do I hear a motion for approval of the amendment?
Motion.
Second.
Second by Nick Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Same sign. Okay, on reports, they're submitting their reports. Since we're running late, if you have any questions, please email them. They'll be happy to answer them. Let's go on to consent items, Doug. For Jody, someone?
Take this last.
Okay, you go right ahead.
Which one's this the one we get to first?
Darrow's first.
Oh, Taro. Okay, I don't have that. I think that one's in your book.
Any questions on Darrow? Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carried. Cemetery assistance. Doug just handed out one.
Several items were added since the packet was created. There were 7 cemeteries added with Cherokee, Sequoia, and Adair counties represented, in addition to what was in your packet. Shirley Cemetery, Duncan, Little Deer, Feathers. Somebody may have to help me with that one. DG. Alan Ross. And Rabbit Bunch.
Make a motion we approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Okay. I'm not sure. The community assistance report I just handed out. It's got several items on it. Without going through it, I do want to make one small correction on Holbert. $500 split between the 3, Bird, Mr. Jordan, and Mr. Walkenstead. The rest you can see there on their report.
Chair, I'd like to add a couple of items. One is to Native American Fellowship Incorporated, $800 from Councilor Fraley, $850 from Councilor Ray, and $850 from myself for rehabilitation of a community building, and $500 to the Noweta Community Organization, NOWETA, for a holiday program.
Who's 500?
Councilwoman Walker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I need to understand more about what this Natchez Nation is. Is this the group that runs around in the Natchez police car, or who? I'm not familiar with them. I need to understand if this is the same.
They're a Nachi nation made up of Nachis and Cherokees, and they're north of Gore. They have a headquarters up there, and they have no vehicles to run around in unless they, go on a meeting or something. Get them some. But that's exactly who they are. They're a community organization, and they're 501c3, and they're made up for Cherokees. Really, there's a lot. They don't have any full-blood Nazis that I know.
So, Madam Chairwoman, I don't want to. So, just to clarify, is this the group that's tried to exert itself as a tribe?
No. Not I know of. You mean
Who is the leadership of the group?
Oh, I can't think of that guy's name.
They're more of a community.
Yeah.
They're more of a community there.
They're community assistants. They help people. They spend their own privately money to help people. The old boy that's the chief right now has 2 families moved in with him because they didn't have anywhere to go. And anytime he gets any funding extra, and he gives it to people that need help. But that's where I'm at on it. If you want to challenge this, I'll be fine. I'll go out and get everything you need for it. I think it's all on assistance form. That's who they are.
Madam Chairwoman, I believe this is the same group that has asserted itself as a tribe and has driven around a
Would you like to make a
police
motion to
car.
strike it?
I would like, I know that if we could table it for a month until we find out, I think that's of this importance.
So your motion is to table this item?
Just this item on the Natchez Nation.
Just the, I'm sorry, man, just point of order, just the line item.
Just that line item, the $700 for Natchez Nation.
I mean, did we, Madam Chair, just point of order, did we have a motion to approve the whole package already, and then it was amended?
I apologize, I thought there was a motion to do that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve everything but that line item. And that line item be tabled to the next month.
Have we got a motion and a second now?
Wait a second.
Can we ask questions?
Yep.
Mr. Thornton, are you satisfied that they're within your area? That the majority of them are made up of
They're
Cherokees?
made up of
And they are a community organization in need of community assistance money?
They got a 501c3.
And they're within your territory?
They help a lot of people around our area. Yeah.
Then with all respect to Councilor Watts, I'll be voting no on exempting them from approval today. Because I think we need to give deference to each one of our own. This is what the community assistance money is all about. You serve your community. And he knows more about his community than anybody at this table other than maybe Janelle. And so I'm going to defer to him on this decision to give his money to them.
Councilwoman Fulbright?
I just had a question for him. I've only been up there and looked at their building once, and I wondered about it. You know, I don't know that much about it, but I do know they've got a building, and I guess where they meet.
They're very cultural people. They're fixing to open the first stomp grounds within our district. It's been closed for years and years, and they're fixing to open it. The only thing that I can see about this, Madam Chair, is that we have NICUT, Community Association. We've got Arbor City. We've got Buy-In. We've got Gore. We have, and let me tell you who we serve in this are Cherokees. Now we don't care if we give that out to UKBs attend those associations, and they're part of the Cherokees. You know, when I look at a UKB, I see myself. I see a Cherokee. But we serve those people, and we've assisted those people ever since this program started. So we not only assist Cherokees, we assist Creeks in these associations. You know, they're members of them. They come to eat with them. We do it, you know, on our food distribution programs. We help everybody. So if you've really got something against this, you need to cut them all out. You know, if that's what you're going to do right here.
You still got the floor, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
I agree with Councilman Thornton because when I just funded $500 to the Belfont Micah Community Organization, and they have several UKB come in there to eat. And I think they're an organization made up of Cherokees. I don't even know exactly how to pronounce their name. I didn't go up there and look at their building. And as he pointed out, that's the only organization up in that area. We've got several. We've got Brent and Belfont and Muldrow and Rowland. We've got several community organizations that we fund and Brushy. So, but that's the only one I know of in that area. So.
Councilman Cluxton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I think it ought to be approved. I think Councilman Thornton knows his area, knows the impact of this organization on his area. So I would make a motion to amend the Councilwoman's motion to restore that for passage, so that we're passing what is in front of us as it had already been.
Second.
So, Madam Chair, this would put us back to the normal approval process
Yes.
If it passes.
Any discussion?
I mean, they have to be 50% Cherokee.
Any discussion?
My concern is not that he does or doesn't, but there's particular sovereignty issues around fake tribes exerting authority in our jurisdiction. If this is, I don't even know if it is, but I'm asking, and I haven't got a clear answer, but I'm concerned that it is a group we've actually had problems with in the past. And so then to go and fund them, and even the particular individual, to go fund them is problematic.
And I am just minutes into this conversation. One thing that, if it's an organization that has taken for lack of a better word, position contrary to the Cherokee Nation, I would think that we would want to vet this out, further to find out exactly what this organization is. Obviously, it is your call. You are the tribal council, but there have been particular questions and issues arise with this organization, and I would just say that.
So, may I continue, Madam Chair? So, I don't have any. My concern is around that it would be if it is the same group, it would be in direct defiance with a history of records or resolutions and acts we've passed to protect ourselves against groups claiming to be Cherokee or something else in our jurisdiction or even elsewhere.
Here's a suggestion. Why don't you bring the proof that it is and have it, Shelley email it to us?
So
And then that
may
way we'll
I
know.
continue, Madam Chair? May I, please?
Yes.
Thank you. So if we could approve it today with the caveat that if there is stuff brought forward that shows it's the same group, and I'll work offline with Councilman Thornton and I guess Councilwoman Fulbright and Garvin, that we could go ahead and approve it today, but if before the check is issued, have an opportunity to visit further about this, that if it is the same group, that we would not send payment.
Here's my problem with that. It's just like Mr. Thornton said, every time we give to a little organization, we don't know that there are non-Indians eating at the table, using a few dollars of our funds that we gave that organization. We don't know that there are Katuas eating at that table from the few dollars that we gave that organization. He knows his community. Janelle knows her community. This is their money to use in their communities. I don't see a sovereignty issue like some of you do. I see a need, and he's trying to meet that need, and I say, let's get this paid today, and let's go on.
I mean, members.
I just don't. I don't want to approve something and say, but you can't give out the check because I want time to bring something to you. He's asked to use $700 of his community assistance money for a community group that he feels is primarily Cherokee, and I say let's pass it, give the money to them, and let's go on about our business.
Councilman Walking Stick.
Call for the question.
Question's been called.
Remind them what the question is.
This is on the amendment to accept all of them as is and pass it.
So, yes is to accept?
Yes, Madam Chair, yes is to include the councilman's request for that organization.
Yes, it is.
Could I say something? These people in this nation down there, they go out and help people. And they deliver food to them. They go out and they'll help put on a new roof. And these are our people that they're doing this for. And these people don't have any money, period, hardly. Of whatever they make, it comes out of their pockets. So, this is one reason that I like this, because they help our Cherokee people. And they help them with their food, and they help them with building a porch, or they help them with putting on a roof. And it don't cost anything out of the Cherokee Nation for them to do that. So I'm very strong about this, and I think we need to help these people. Thank you. They say this little boy that's the chief is crazy because he does everything for the people, and he don't have any money. Anything he gets, he helps his people. So I don't know.
Okay, let's
I
vote.
know of what they do.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say sign.
Abstain.
On to law enforcement request.
There are no law enforcement requests. Just a reminder, come January, the apportionments.
Don't we need to approve the whole thing now?
Oh, yes, we do. Okay, community assistance, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Abstain.
Okay. No law enforcement?
Madam Chair, I do have one late entry to law enforcement, $1,500 to Craig County Emergency Management for vehicle-related expenses. Craig County Emergency Management, $1,500.
Okay, that's all one?
Yes, I think so.
Is that?
Motion
is that
to-
on? I make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? On the roads?
Roads? Okay, there was one amendment to the road report that's in your book. The book had submitted a few projects, the motor fuels tax, where the Lane School overlay project in city of Cherokee County. Joe and David, you can see the numbers there. That will take all three of you down to your FY13 allocation balance, $60,000.
I kind of did have a question about that.
You did?
How come it's in Joe's area.
It's taking on a lot of money.
Well, I assume y'all would have already signed something before
That's
that
okay.
consider came to me.
I was giving Joe a hard time. I didn't know how that happened.
So we got the ruling, right?
You got the rule and you got my money.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Joe said call for questions.
Yeah, call for
There was an amendment to that Ashland Road project, Mr. Hoskin, for $40,590. And then there was some significant refunds on a completed project, East Delaware Road refund for Mr. Thornton and Bullbride. And same one low water bridge slab on North 480 Road for the Cherokee County Councilors. So the report is updated. If there's any questions to your allocation balance, this incorporates carryover from the prior year earmarked funds as well as FY13 appropriated balances as well. Like I said before, the only thing that in your allocation balances that's not identified yet is going to be your vehicle tax apportionments from the revenues from the prior year, which will come into the motor vehicle tax road report here, okay, as well as your law enforcement report. And those timing on that will be February.
Councilman Garber?
Thank you. Just to answer my question, you say the timing will be February?
Is that a definite or maybe or?
I think there's some language in the vehicle tax compact that the revenue calculations will be shored up late December, early January, and they'll submit a budget to apportion those dollars for schools, roads, and law enforcement, and it'll go forward in late January or February timeframe in the E&F committee. So once that comes forward and the apportionment happens, then those dollars will be available for your
So
project.
it'll come through this committee
Yes,
in
sir.
January and council in February?
If the tax commission and the treasurer's office are able to solidify those revenues and come, the school apportionment is strictly based on revenue. Usually that's the easiest dollar, we'll have those locked down earlier. And once the expenditures of the tax commission that would be affecting the apportionments that are based off of a net number, like the law enforcement, it's a 12% net, I believe, bottom line of the tax commission. The rest, usually they just all get packaged up and come over either in January or February of each year.
I make a motion to approve the roads as amended.
Second. The motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, seeing no old business, we move on to new business. And due to the time, I'm going to limit debate to everybody to about, do you have a time limit? You know, 3 minutes? Yeah, 3 minutes. Yep. First one, Mr. Lay.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a resolution authorizing the management and direction by the council for approval of expenditures for the settlement proceeds of the contract support cost litigation. And I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, discussion? No discussion?
I just wondered if the original draft and maybe in the amended draft, maybe it's, I'm sorry, we're in the contract support costs. Okay, I'm sorry, I was on the wrong, I withdraw. Does that make sense?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do we know if there's anything in the settlement or IHS compact that would regulate how this money is spent?
Well, that's one
I
thing,
guess-
the settlement hasn't occurred yet. We've won a lawsuit. Now, as to the amount of damages, we have an idea. It could be more or less. The matter is truly contingent. When it's going to come down, I don't know. We are working on it in Washington D.C. right now to try to speed that, this resolution along. But are there going to be strings attached to that? It hasn't occurred yet, so we don't know. For one thing, it's on the issue, it's not. We can't consider this an appropriation because you can't appropriate something you don't have. A resolution is a statement of will by the council. It really has no legal authority. This is what you want. At some point, we are going to get money. We have won the case in the Supreme Court. So we got to find out how much that is, what conditions, if any, are on that resolution, and go with it from there. But you guys are the keeper of the purse strings. So what money comes in, you control, and you will appropriate it appropriately.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? Discussion? All those in favor?
I do have a question.
Take the floor.
Under the be it resolved, it says that we shall have the management and direct authority of approval of all expenditures that come from the settlement proceedings. Since this is just a resolution, and if it was an act, we would have that duty if we passed an act, but if it's resolution, until we tie it to some definite funds, we don't have the management authority. This is simply something that the body might want to do, but don't you all want to wait until the money comes down and then let's address it at that point. Now we're tying up the possibility of money in the future. As Mr. Hembry just said, we don't even know what limitations are going to be placed on this money. I'm just posing that to you as a question. It seems like this is kind of premature to me. Maybe I'm the only one that feels that way, but it seems somewhat premature. One, we don't know that we've got what amount of money we have. Two, we don't know what the restrictions are already going to be on when the money comes to us. It seems to me like the more timely time, I guess, for lack of a better word, to consider this would be when we see this money coming down to us. We're kind of getting ahead of the ball game, in my opinion, but I may be the only one here that feels that way.
I guess my question is somewhat in a similar vein. When this money comes to the Cherokee Nation, it will be transferred from the U.S. Treasury to the Cherokee Treasury. We'll have to appropriate it into a budget. We would do that anyway. I mean, what I wonder, and Todd, you could speak to this, or Doug could speak to this, won't we do this anyway? I mean, won't we, when the money comes, there's no way to spend money unless the council appropriates it.
Well, and that's exactly right. I mean, what this is, you know, the basis of this resolution is the Constitution. Okay? When money comes to the Cherokee Nation, you are apprised of it. You have the authority to approve all expenditures of that money. That's in the Constitution. It can't happen any other way. This is the first time I've seen the only problematic language I have in here. It says, you know, in the Council of the Cherokee Nation shall have the management and direct authority. Management is the how the laws are affected and how the appropriations that you give, how they are managed is an executive function. But be it clear, and as a strong advocate of the council that I've always been for the last 12 years, not a dime goes through this nation that is not appropriated by this body. So that you know, the resolution is you know, I have no problem with the spirit of the resolution, but it just really restates what the Constitution already calls for, mindful that when you say management, it is extra constitutional.
I agree with Ms. Gloria Jordan. We're still in negotiations, and there are disclosures from the IHS that have not been disclosed yet, and it may be years before we get this. I mean, the first contract support we got, it was years before we got it, so I agree with you. It's a little bit too soon. I understand what he's trying to do, but I think it's too soon also.
Any more discussion?
Let's make a motion for table.
Second.
Motion's made and tabled. Table and seconded. Okay. It's not available.
Point of order, is that indefinitely or is there a time frame on it?
For the table?
Till we get the funds? Like I say, we already appropriate the money when they arrive to the treasurer of the Cherokee Nation, so and just put it indefinitely then.
All those in favor of the table indefinitely?
Just don't we have discussion on the table?
No, no motion to table.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Cherokee, Dick Lee, and David Thornton, 4. On to the next one, discussion of possible action, Cherokee Phoenix. Peter.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
That money's going to go into the 4 trees you guys wonder.
And I have 3 minutes starting now, is that correct? Okay, I'll try to make it brief then. My first statement would be that I think as a council, we do want to help the Cherokee Phoenix. We want to make sure that they're in good stead financially, since we cut them so drastically and kind of all of a sudden. And so I would make a recommendation that we meet with the Cherokee Phoenix, makes a report to the council at least quarterly or as needed, if that would be acceptable to the body. And my first question to Mr. Pollard was on the back in July 23rd, there was a 19-member advisory council that was going to be initiated. Can you enlighten me about that?
The council was formed by the editorial board basically as a focus group. What they were wanting to accomplish from the advisory council was to have a body of citizens, most of whom would be readers of the Cherokee Phoenix, that would assemble on a regular basis, probably quarterly, and would discuss the Cherokee Phoenix content, what they liked, what they didn't like, and would be able to issue recommendations to the board. In the past, we have done a reader survey that we mailed out to Cherokee citizens to get their feedback. It's somewhat costly, and it takes time to develop all the data so that I can share it with the editorial board. And so the board felt like by forming the council, they kind of have a body of citizens there who would be representing all the districts within the Cherokee Nation and the at-large community. And they could basically provide kind of a constant stream of feedback for the board, particularly where our content was concerned. The advisory council was passed by the board, and so it's in effect, but I haven't taken any action to implement it because of recent developments. I've had to prioritize, the paid subscriptions and the new business plans. So it's kind of on the back burner right now, but I'm hoping to be able to implement that at some point in the future.
It seems somewhat dramatic, 19-member advisory board. But you should take that any way you like. The current subscription as in October for when the free paper was issued was roughly 40,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, about 28,000 mailed, and about 14,000 that we distribute through news racks. Yeah.
Okay. And I know it's close to Halloween, and I don't want you to scare us, but how many in November do you expect to get the paper?
Right now, based on the agreements that we have in place, both through paid subscriptions and through our sponsored distribution racks, it's about 4,000. But we're hoping to get more distribution points set up between now and November, so that number is probably going to increase, and we have people calling for paid subscriptions every day. So the numbers are going to continue to go up. I'm expecting to see a little bit more dramatic response sometime in November, because right now we're in October. Our readers have their October issue, and so for people who aren't paying really close attention, they haven't noticed that they're not getting the paper yet. November, they're going to stop getting the paper, and so I'm expecting that at some point after November is when people will start scratching their head wondering where the Cherokee Phoenix is, and we'll probably start getting a little bit more dramatic response then.
Okay, anybody else?
Have we had any elders or even like our youth in high school or college call to say that they want to continue but they can't afford to continue their subscriptions?
I have not heard of any of those concerns yet. Like I said, we haven't gotten a big response yet, and so those concerns may come forward. The number one concern that we're hearing right now is people are asking, if I pay for the paper, am I going to get it faster? Because one of the biggest concerns that we've had from our readership is that it sometimes takes 2 and 3 weeks for the paper to get to them, because we mail as in third class, which means that it basically it's the lowest priority, and so it takes a long time for it to get there. Once we move to paid subscriptions, that'll allow us to file an application with the Postal Service to become a periodical. Once we become a periodical, it'll mail much faster. Most, even as far as the West Coast, they should receive the paper in less than a week.
That is exciting. Are you and your staff geared up, though, also? Because we have already gotten feedback that there's folks that cannot afford to take it. So would you be prepared to take information down so that if there's a possibility, either that we can find individuals to help sponsor folks, or that we can help make sure that people are still getting the news?
We're actually working, I've been working with accounting to set up a free subscription fund. And the fund will actually be a separate budget within our department that will be a charitable contribution. So if citizens want to contribute to the fund, we can then pull from that fund and pay for a subscription for someone in need. Right now we've set it up as the eligibility would be Cherokee citizens and senior citizens, or Cherokee citizens who are senior citizens. Because that's something that's a level of eligibility that would be fairly easy for us to verify. So we're probably going to start there, and if we decide to expand it out, then we'll look at ways that we can expand it out. So right now a fund is in the works, and that will actually come to this body in the form of a budget mod here in the next, actually maybe even next month.
And you said it's $30 a bundle of 100 if people want to buy it?
For the sponsored distribution.
Sponsored distribution.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have a hog fry on Saturday at Victory Cherokee Organization.
Mm-hmm.
We, of course, will take forms, but it would probably be, given the time frame, how close we are to November 1, if you could have a staff member there or somebody that could actually take money on site, we would welcome that, and we'll get you space.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Speaker Jordan.
Brian, from the outset, when we first discussed the budget modification, we expressed to you the importance of watching for those folks that maybe can't pay for their paper. So if you'll keep a vigilant watch over that, then we can address that a little bit later on. We're 25 days in. We're probably a little premature to make any decisions right now on any things necessary maybe to change the situation. I'm like you. I think we're going to see a dramatic increase towards the first part of November in paid subscriptions.
I agree with you. It's pretty early to start making too many judgment calls. However, I've been working with accounting to set up this fund in anticipation that that's probably going to be something that we encounter in the future. And so I'd like for us to kind of have our ducks in a row in the event that that happens. So we're moving forward on that. But I agree with you. I think that we're still so early into it. It's probably going to be another couple of months before we really have a feel of where we're going with it.
So if you're going to come to us quarterly and report, you will come back maybe in January and give
absolutely.
us a report, and we kind of see where we are then?
Yeah, I think after the first quarter, we'll probably have a pretty good idea.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilman Keenan?
Do I have any more questions, or my time is up?
What would you like to do? It says discussion and possible action.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with meeting back again in January. Real pleased about that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Next one, Councilman Baker.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I think that Dr. Morton had identified 50,000, not 60, but 50,000 in the public school outreach fund education that could be transferred to the Cherokee Heritage Center. Since the Cherokee Heritage Center does a lot of this school outreach, I make a motion that the 50,000 be moved from the school outreach to the Cherokee Heritage Center.
Thank
Councilman Moore?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I cast my vote, I'd like to understand, I think Dr. Morton's back here. I'd like to understand, I mean, I would assume he had a plan for that original budget, and I would want to understand what we're possibly taking money away from or changing on that side before I make my vote. So if Dr. Morton can come up and explain what that $60,000 was originally designated for in education, I'd appreciate it.
Actually, when the discussion was held concerning the transfer of $60,000 from public school outreach, it was my understanding that those funds were for the replacement of personnel who were released at the time of the FY13 budget. Of course, that would cut into public school outreach. And I'm at rather desperate straits right now in public school outreach in the area of STEM programs and in the area of public school mandates imposed by state and federal government. Now, since the fiscal 13 budget, which the council approved, all of the employees who were in layoff status by the Heritage Center as a result of the budget reduction have been employed in other positions, with the exception of one. One lowest paid person on staff in the secretarial position. That position has not been filled as yet, but all of the other positions have been filled. So when I made the offer of the, in fact it was $61,000, I've made the statement to a portion of this group that I'll be back to see you in April because I'll be broke by then, because I would need an appropriation. I saw this as an immediate measure, an emergency measure to employ personnel. But as of today, the last person from the Heritage Center who did not have employment, except for the one secretarial position, which has not been filled, was employed. And the other one that we absorbed into Cherokee Nation functions, and this one was in fact in the CDC Center, stayed a week or so and said, I don't believe I like this type of work, and chose to seek employment elsewhere. So I consider that as a filled position. So it was at an equal salary. So that puts a little different light. We in Education Services sought rather desperately to find employment for the person who was primarily responsible for the Ancient Village, and we have found that now. That person will go to another position within the Cherokee Nation in cultural heritage work, not education services. To complicate the matter a little bit more, I will be coming back to you in education committee meeting time to request money for myself. By myself, I mean education services budget, in outreach services, because that is the fastest growing department in education at present. Public schools are in desperate straits. And had a group of superintendents in for conference today talking about how they may be able to meet some of the budget constraints that they will have. And as you know perfectly well, we're in dire straits in meeting our obligation in STEM programs through a situation that is unavoidable, but is repairable.
Thank you. Councilman?
I'm sorry, I didn't get I wanted to make sure do I still have the floor?
No, your time was up. Councilman Stick.
Hey, Dr. Morton, you know they have those cultural heritage days in the fall and spring at the Heritage Center, and
yes,
they charge $5 per kid to attend those. And I know in Muskogee, we took 200 kids up there, and I know that's like a small portion, but this act or whatever is requesting $60,000 for those programs. I don't know, it just doesn't seem, it seems like the efforts, maybe the week in preparation and maybe the 2 days of actual offering service, that it may pay for itself with the number of students that are involved with that. I can't talk on how many kids are participating in that, but I know it's hundreds. So, I mean, that's all.
Councilor Costa?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dr. Morton, your initial willingness to give up, if you will, $60,000 was premised on the idea that the Heritage Center does some outreach, public school outreach, and that those dollars from your public school outreach would find their way to public school outreach. But in fact, an employee from the Heritage Center that now works in your department
actually will not work in my department, but will work in community services department.
Okay. Will they be able to reach out to kids in schools?
That's part of their role.
Okay.
Just as it is the role of the Cultural Resources Center in education services to reach out to schools. For instance, on November the 7th, I believe, in Adair County, there's a cooperative venture involving University of Arkansas, Northeastern State University, and the Cherokee Nation, and all of the rural schools in Adair County meeting at Stillwell for a combination social stickball game involving University of Arkansas students, Northeastern students, and schools from the K-8 schools, plus an introduction to Stillwell High School to try to combat some of the dropouts from 8th grade to 9th grade. So and that evening a dinner for veterans that will be hosted by the kids that are there. So those are some of the things that we're doing through education services.
I guess, Madam Chair, I remember the Education Committee talking so many times about public school outreach and how we really needed to get into these schools to make sure that our kids are getting the help they need to get into college, et cetera. And I have a difficult time supporting moving money from there to the Heritage Center under these new circumstances. And I also wonder, has the Heritage Center presented, as the Phoenix did, a detailed plan about how it's going to address budget cuts? I don't remember seeing it. Madam Chair, if you could refresh my memory.
They sent us a second set of papers, and I really couldn't tell the second difference between the first and the second, to be quite honest.
So I guess I'm having difficulty supporting the transfer of these funds. Particularly, well, I'm just having some difficulty right now. Thank you, Madam Chief.
Jordan?
My understanding was some of the outreach funds were going to be used also to help schools reach those mandates that the state's now putting on them, as far as kids being able to pass testing and a certain level of testing, and bringing their schools up from maybe the D category to the A or B category, and that you were crunched for funds to do that, and you had a number of superintendents that have requested and are actually seeking that help. I've had several contact me. I've had them contact you. Is that not going to be critical this year?
It definitely is, because Superintendent Barisi released the ABCDF list today, this morning. It's on the Oklahoma State Department of Education website if you want to check schools in the district. Those that scored C and below are, they're going to be really scrappy. Try to meet the mandates.
I would have.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I couldn't support this for the very reason that right now education is so critical in Oklahoma. We're so short of funds, and they're looking to the tribe to help them supplement basically what is unfunded mandates from the state that affect our Cherokee children. I would dare say that of the 2,000 that did get diplomas last year in our area, a great deal of them may have been Cherokee students. And we've got to take our limited funds and address those needs and get those kids through school. So I won't be able to support this at this time. I would also like to see the Heritage Center give us some sort of plan. I looked over their paperwork. There was no plan to do anything different than what they've always done. I want to see them raise revenue, and I want to see them come up with a plan to raise revenue, because that's what a 501 or what a nonprofit is. That's mainly what we're forming them for.
Councilman England?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question. I have actually two questions. I have one for Jack. Can you hear me, Jack?
Yes.
If the Heritage Center received this money, would they be able to hire back the 3 Cherokee citizens that was laid off? Would that help?
If I understand Dr. Morton, there's only one that has not received another position. And I do not know the status of that one person. Whether the nation is still looking to hire them or not. And I don't know if Dr. Morton can address that or not.
Okay. Dr. Morton, is there a plan to hire them back?
That person, that secretary that was not reemployed at the Heritage Center, see, all positions at the Heritage Center that were in the layoff category, those persons have been hired, except that one secretary. Now, that one secretary, through our HR system, will be placed on every panel for secretary automatically, and in every department, and so I anticipate that she, in fact, will be hired.
So with this 60,000, would that cut into your program? I mean, I guess just a yes or no?
Yes. Yes. And this is embarrassing for me. I'm a member of the board at Heritage Center. So it's rather embarrassing for me. On this side, I'm backwards. On this side, I'm saying, rake it in for me. But I sincerely believe that the money can be more effectively spent in education services than it can in the Heritage Center.
Well, I have.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is to Councilman Baker. When you had this on the agenda, you were assured that it would be available?
Pardon? What was the question?
When you put this on the agenda as an item, you were confident it would be available?
No, I know that Dr. Morton had offered that so that we could pay the positions at the time.
Okay.
That's what we tried to do.
And
so I would still like to, well, possibly at least take the one position, but that may or may not happen.
I'm sorry, I couldn't really hear you, but you still want to go forward with this as a motion? You still want to move forward with this?
Initially, as Dr. Morton said, the $60,000 was offered to save the 2 positions at that time that had not been filled elsewhere. So since then, one of those has been filled.
Okay, so this would just go in the coffers of the Heritage Center then?
Right. Yeah. Although it would be possible that we couldn't hire that person back if the money was there.
That person has already been employed.
She is on other panels at this time, too.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hardy, call for the question.
Hold my hand up.
Would you like to return to your session or anything? Go right ahead.
Thank you. Anyway, I support the outreach program. I think it's a great program, or we wouldn't have had to put the funding into the program. But as far as taking money out of that program, if we take that out of that program and put it into anything Cherokee, I'm a big supporter of the Cherokee language. And I would like to see a couple of schools start up, or grade schools start up in the Northern District and the Southern District with Cherokee language. And I think 30,000 apiece would do that. But I'm not going to make that motion right now. I'm going to say that I can't support this because I really think my people need to learn the language, ones that don't know it, and that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Questions and calls? All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Aye. Okay.
Madam Chair, Mod 2 just have one budget mod in, a $20,000 carryover. It does have $2 million worth of grants. One of the grants, it's pretty evenly split between DHHS and federal other. The $1 million grant DHHS is for communities, and $1 million in the federal other. We have 3 primary programs, 2 economic stimulus, Department of Energy. One's an energy audit for $135,000. Another one's a recycle facility from DOE for $496,000. And then we have a FEMA Tribal Homeland Security grant for $323,000. All those are grants. The only budget again was a $20,000 IHS funding for the Tribal Solid Waste Management Program.
Second. Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we give Doug Evans a standing ovation from the Finance Committee.
And have an announcement, cake and punch and everything's out in the court.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Adjourned.